Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table with Setco Services. In this podcast, we delve into the world of real estate and explore what happens beyond the closing table. Join us for insightful discussions and expert interviews that will change the way you see real estate transactions. Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table. I'm George Brandon Jr., sponsored by Setco Services. And today, I have one of my most favorite people, also might be a competitor. I mean, why not? Let's do this. Miss Farrar Barker. Welcome, Farrar.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Good. Farrar is with Barker Williams, attorneys at law. Did I get that right?
You did.
And Shoreline Title.
That's correct.
Like I said, one of my favorite competitors.
Yes. And likewise,
a great job. A great job. But today we're just going to talk about Farrar. We'll get into real estate and work and all that stuff down the road. Farrar, where are you from?
Originally from Alabama.
Oh, bless you.
Yes.
All right. Are you an Alabama fan?
I am.
Okay.
Roll Tide. I was actually born in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
So, well, technically I was born in Birmingham because it's where the hospital was.
That's where the hospital was.
Lived in
They
Tuscaloosa.
probably didn't have hospitals in Tuscaloosa at that time, right?
You know, apparently not ones that my mom wanted to have a baby at.
I love your mom. What a wonderful, wonderful lady. I probably need to have her here at some point.
You would definitely have to have an E on the
We get the explicit tag right out of the gate.
Yes, but she is amazing.
Well, I just love her. I know she can talk in her beautiful accent.
She has quite some stories.
Did she still work downstairs?
Yes, she does.
Yeah. I was walking by randomly and she was like, George.
I think she might be one of Willow's, if not the longest standing employee. Willow Mercer. She's worked for them for years now and just adores them.
Okay. Shout out to Mom and little shout out to Willow.
That's
so
right.
Back to Farrar, born in Birmingham, grew up in Alabama.
Tuscaloosa, until I was in first grade.
Okay.
So when I started first grade, we moved to Birmingham and then lived there until I finished fifth grade. And then we moved to what's now Johns Creek, which is north of Atlanta. So I moved there when I was in sixth grade. And
why the moving around?
So my dad was with UPS.
Go Brown.
We bleed brown.
Okay. No FedEx up in here. You know, I'm from Memphis, so I was loyal to FedEx until I moved here, and FedEx pickup times are horrible. So I'm a big UPS fan.
When I was a kid, I was very loyal. My dad worked for UPS for 35 years before he retired.
Whoa.
So I would ride, as you know, George, I'm a little competitive sometimes.
No.
I know, shocking. I would ride my bike intentionally slow when I saw the FedEx truck, like get in front of him so he couldn't pass me so that he would be late.
How old were you when you were obstructing the FedEx guy?
Yeah.
Little blonde girl hit by FedEx truck for driving too slow.
That's right. In an attempt to make UPS the better delivery service. So.
Okay. Well, hey, you were supporting Dad. That was your way of doing it.
That's
I love it. All right.
So my dad moved to their corporate office.
Okay.
In Atlanta when I was starting sixth grade.
Okay.
So
how was that change for you?
You know, it was very different because I had my mom has a very thick Southern accent, but I also
she does. I love it.
That Southern accent, and then very quickly,
you're not as thick as her.
Oh no, I'm not. But when
you were then?
Correct.
Okay.
And so
worked on your non-regional dialect, did you?
Exactly right.
Okay.
All right. You know, it's not a great way to fit in when you're starting.
It's not like you moved to New York. You moved to Georgia.
I did, but you know what? I mean, Atlanta was such a melting pot. I mean, Alabama was still, or Birmingham was still pretty much. I mean, Birmingham has changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
And, oh gosh, now it's probably been 35 years, but it was still very Southern.
You don't have to date yourself. We're kindred spirits there.
Right here. But yeah, so it was a really big change. But it was great too. I mean, you know, my parents tried to put us on the swim team in tennis, you know, when we moved to Atlanta, and that was like, we played softball
very
and
yuppie.
Swam in the river.
Yeah, exactly. There she is. Another reason Farrar is one of my favorite people, because she snorts like I do. Yeah. Awesome. So y'all joined the club and started doing swim team and tennis?
We had them in our neighborhood. Well, I was going to say, yes, we did not. That didn't last very long. But yes, it was a big adjustment, but it was great.
How was middle school?
It was good.
Did you play any sports besides being forced to go swimming in a pool instead of a river?
So I played softball.
Okay.
And then actually in middle school, so in sixth grade, I did softball. And then we were having to go kind of pretty far for that. And so my dad and my mom had sort of decided that she thought I really should focus on cheerleading. My dad still really wanted me to play sports. And so...
Wait a second. Did Dad not consider cheerleading a sport at the time?
Well, I think he did. I just think I was probably better at softball than I was at cheerleading.
Okay.
At that time. My mom might disagree. But my dad put me in baseball. So actually in middle school, I played baseball on a boys team.
Okay.
Instead of softball.
Co-ed. All right.
Mm-hmm. So I did that in middle school, but it was good. I know people have it was an adjustment, but yeah, I mean, I was fortunate.
You transitioned well.
I transitioned very well.
So, all right, did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Johns Creek.
Okay, I mean, I know you went to high school, but
right.
Did you go to high school outside of Atlanta in Johns Creek?
Yes, I went to a big public high school, Chattahoochee High School.
Chattahoochee High School. Wow, Ellen Jackson.
That's right.
All right. Is that near the Chattahoochee River?
Kind of. I'm not really sure. I think it is as much as anything in Atlanta is sort of near the Chattahoochee River.
Okay, understood.
But yeah, and high school was great.
Yeah. No drama, no good stories you want to share with us as we delve into the shaped you?
I was kind of probably, I wasn't super boring in high school, but, I kind of.
Really?
I mean, not boring, but meaning
You didn't get in any trouble? You never went to a keg party, got arrested or anything?
No. I was normally the designated driver. I will say this, I was very fortunate. I did hang with a lot of the kids who did that, but I was sort of always like, I'll just drive us home.
You're the responsible one.
I was responsible. I think I loved sports. I loved being in clubs. Like I loved all of that. And I was always so worried. I don't know if worried's the right word, but just the risk never seemed worth the reward.
So you were already doing risk assessment at the young age of 16.
Correct. Okay. I'm like, I will go to the party, but if I'm
everybody
able to
takes
drive
their
and
path.
I have my car, I can leave, the party. But
knowing what I know, I can see how things shape.
How that all worked out. So no, but I mean, fun. I had a great high school. It was really fun.
Good. Positive experience?
Yeah, absolutely.
So where'd you end up going to college and how'd you get there?
Sure. So neither of my parents went kind of to a traditional college route. Okay. My dad actually started working at UPS when he was 19, sweeping floors at UPS.
Really?
So that was how he had kind of started.
What level did he retire at?
He was in the human resources department, one of the, head guys.
Okay.
There. I don't actually remember his official title. But yeah, the UPS changed. My dad had worked there for 35 years and they went public when I was in high school. So it really, changed the trajectory of our family significantly.
Yeah.
He just worked his way up, kind of went from sweeping floors to being a driver to being in management to eventually making it to the corporate office.
Good for him.
Yeah. So he, again,
I don't know your dad as well as your mom, but knowing her and your dad in human resources, I don't know why that's a little funny to me. But
it should be, yeah, okay. That's right. It should be, yeah. Trying to keep her,
yeah. I don't know why I keep jumping there. Seeing your mom in an HR office would be a complete disaster.
It would be,
but hilarious. All right, so your high school to where?
So yes, neither of my parents again really went the traditional college route, but we'd grown up loving the University of Alabama. I think I'd sort of thought, well, that's just where I'll go because I'm familiar with that. Again, we loved it. And then one of my best friends from youth group, she went to a private school in Atlanta, and Southern Methodist University out of Dallas recruited pretty heavily out of Atlanta private schools. And so I remember one day she said, hey, I'm going to, go out to Dallas and look at this school. And I was like, oh, I want to go. I'll go. Okay. And so why not? And so my mom and I flew out there and I decided, you know what? I think I want to go to school at SMU, which was very kind of a random choice for me, but I loved it. So
what did you like about it? What sold you on it?
I think at that time, SMU is probably almost the same size as my high school. So I'd gone to a huge public high school, which was great for me. I mean, it wasn't too big for me. I loved it.
It was still post death penalty, right?
Correct. Actually, so football came back on campus the first year I was at SMU.
Okay. All right. actually pretty decent these days.
I
But
know,
anyway,
kind of exciting.
took a minute to get there.
It's amazing. And once you can legally pay people,
once
we're pretty good at
exactly.
it, you know? We had some practice.
Y'all were good at it before. You just got caught.
That's right. We got caught.
Anyway.
We weren't smart at it. But
you were no Alabama for sure.
Oh, careful there.
It's okay. So what made you how did you?
So I just think I loved that it was like, I mean, I loved Dallas, that it was in a city. I loved how small it felt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just kind of immediately got a sense, like a gut sense of like, hey, I really think this is a place that I could enjoy being at. So I was able to get a little bit of scholarship money. Went there and just loved it. Like that was great. Yeah, it was such a good.
Parents supportive?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's not cheap.
It is not cheap. And then
good for you for getting some dough.
Yes. And I loved it so much I convinced my brother to go there. So I'm sure my parents really
yeah, they loved you for that too.
Loved that. But yeah, SMU was great.
So what did you when you started school, what did you think you wanted to do with your life? What was your purpose of going to
college?
Where'd you want to go at that time?
At that time, I wanted to be essentially Erin Andrews. I wanted to go on ESPN, wanted to be a broadcast journalism.
Really?
I really did. I loved sports. So when I was in high school, when I was in high school, I thought I wanted to do athletic training because I loved sports. I loved football. But kind of realized as I was looking at colleges that at that time, if you were a female, you were pretty much going to be in a high school locker room taping ankles, which didn't really
didn't appeal to you
too much. No, but I thought
you wanted to be the sidelines reporter.
That's correct. I was like, I still want to do sports, but I felt like, okay, this might be what I want to do. And so I went into school or to SMU, went down the journalism path, and then pretty quickly realized that there's not a lot of, that's a pretty niche market.
But there's still,
absolutely.
Exclusive to male at that point.
No,
we're not that old, Farrah.
No, absolutely not. But I think I kind of, as I was learning more, I'm like, wait, I don't really care enough about news. Like realizing that when I first start out, I'm going to have to be in some tiny town, covering, I don't know.
You're on Channel 4.
Channel 4 covering the swim team meet, at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, or worse, at 3 a.m. having to cover, the fire at the Burger King or something. I don't know. So I just and make $30,000. I was like, I'm not sure.
So you realized that your freshman year?
I don't know. Probably sophomore year.
Okay.
And of course.
Did you stick with journalism?
I did.
Okay.
I think, this won't surprise, I'm like, well, I've already taken all these classes. I want to.
You got to finish
it. So I switched, though, to print journalism.
Okay.
And so that is where I finished, actually, was with a print. It's all, I guess, all in journalism.
Do you enjoy writing?
I do.
Okay.
I actually think it's funny. You wouldn't have thought that would have segued into law school, but really, I think it was a huge factor in why I did well in law school.
Okay.
And I actually think why I'm good at what I do on transactional side, because it really taught you how to take a ton of information, some of which mattered, some of which didn't, and how you kind of organize that information to say, okay, here's kind of what's most important, and how do you write it in a way that people can understand. So I feel like that skill was actually really helpful. Especially as I got to law school and was taking one exam for a whole semester of being like, okay, here's the question. Here's all this, the law and all the stuff you've got to kind of accumulate. How do I quickly and efficiently present that in a way that answers the question, but that also makes sense?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
No, I get what you're saying. And that's, jump ahead a little bit, but it's, I think attorneys and accountants that fall into that category who are able to simplify things, they're so much better at their job. There's some brilliant attorneys out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I use the best example. This is years ago. I asked, not my accountant now because he listens to this, but a former accountant, whether to lease or purchase a car for a company. And 3 pages letter and $1,500 later, I still had no clue what the answer was,
right,
or the advice was. And I'm like, I just wanted yes or no, or lease or buy. You could have just one word. And I was paid the $1,500,
Of course.
but I still didn't have the answer. So as yourself and what you do now, to know that, your ability to simplify things and not to lessen the intelligence of your client, but that's what you're getting paid for. And you get to this, some people just give these answers that are just so overwhelming. It's like, simplify it for me.
Absolutely.
I'm
or
a
at least
simple
help
person.
me figure out what's most important. Like, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like how you said it.
Yeah.
Like, take all the information, drill it down. So you enjoyed the writing and the journalism part of it. Did you do any while you were in college? You write for the paper or anything?
Oh, yes.
Of course. You joined the club. Shocking.
Hello. Although, it's funny. I have not quit many things in life.
Okay.
But I signed up. It was my junior year. And of course, I have a people pleasing problem that I'm working on, but someone asked me to be an editor at the paper.
Okay.
And so rather than just submitting articles, I don't even remember what, if I wasn't the lead editor, but there's probably 6 of us. So of course I'm like, this is a good opportunity. This would look good on my resume.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Well, about 3 weeks in of being at the paper till 10 p.m., like editing other people's work, I was like, I am so miserable. I cannot do this. So I'll never forget.
You didn't enjoy that part of it.
No. And I was just like, this is exhausting. So I remember going back to I lived in the sorority house and going back to my roommate and being like, I remember her being like, then quit. And it was such a foreign, I think, concept. I'm like, why can't I quit? She's like, you have a whole, this is, it's August 20th,
it's okay.
You're getting miserable for the whole year. So that didn't last. I still submitted articles to paper, but editing.
You went, you learned, you didn't like it.
I did not like it. Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
No.
So you were in a sorority?
I was.
Okay.
Kappa Gamma.
Okay. Kappa Gamma. That's not that surprising. Were you the president?
Yes.
Okay. I just shocking.
Well, you know what? And
it's awesome. Another good thing to add to your resume.
That's right. Well, I've heard you say this before too, George. I mean, I learned that was a huge learning experience.
I'm teasing because I know you, but because
you would have otherwise.
You're a rock star and you finish most of the things except editing. But no, absolutely invaluable education.
Yeah. Did you think I was going to say standards? Uh-huh. If I hadn't said president, did you think I was going to say standards?
I didn't know. I just presumed because just knowing you're going to shoot for the top.
That's right.
I could see you on a standards and ethics board for sure.
Also, pretty much, but yes, I had a great time with our sorority, and I learned a ton about responsibility, about managing people, about. Was your responsibilities as president, so
different schools do it different ways. I mean, you were involved and you ran it?
I ran it.
Okay.
And, and obviously, sometimes people get in trouble. I mean, we went through some rocky times and having to sort of figure out how do you navigate that, as a group.
Give me an example. What do you mean by rocky times?
Well, so when I was president, we had, this happened all the time, right? But I just remember one instance, we had a freshman pledge who her father was very well known. So SMU actually had a fair amount of people whose parents were well known, but this person's father was famous, athlete. And so I'll never forget, she just had a habit of underage drinking. Mm-hmm. She could never remember her name.
Was that against the rules?
Well, when the police caught you, yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Right.
Correct. That's right.
We had a different rule book,
right? Yeah.
So but I was fraternity, a little different.
Correct. Sorry. So when the police would, happen more than once.
When you got busted by the cops.
Correct. She could, well, not at the house. They wouldn't let him drink at the house, but she would be out at a party and she could never remember her name, her address, but she always could remember that she was a Kappa Gamma. I'm like, listen, next time, just forget that piece of information.
You don't need to tell them that.
Please stop telling them that.
Tell them your dad's name and get out of it. Whoever
Correct.
that was.
But because we I think, got called in for that it was hazing. Because it happened to be she'd been at a party with some older Kappas. Then she got caught drinking. And so then the excuse was, well, the older girls were pressuring me into drinking. And so it became kind of a hazing incident at the time. And we had to navigate that with the other, the higher ups in the sorority and sort of really put into place a lot of, and they helped us. But we almost, that became they're not there to enforce that on a Saturday night.
Sure.
It really became, we had to self-enforce of like, hey guys, like this is serious. Like we can't, you cannot be caught with a beer in your hand. Like you've got to be following the rules or else, you could really cost our chapter.
Was that did that kind of got out public and that's.
I don't know that it got out.
School?
I think just with the school. I don't think it got out, meaning it wasn't, thankfully, I mean, nothing happened to her other than the cops caught her. It wasn't, thankfully, I mean, she wasn't hurt, or
what a little,
but it was enough where the school found out because the campus police had found out. And so
but she rolled on the older girls saying they made her drink. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know that but maybe the insinuation. I don't really remember the details other than I just remember I'm like, hey.
And you navigated that as president?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, I mean, I think you learned a lot about in navigating personalities when everybody living in one house and.
Well, it forces you. I mean, you're right. I do say it, and I said on the podcast. The 2 years I was a treasurer of Pike is invaluable, but at what were you 19 or 20? You're forced to interact with leadership that are business people and adults.
Yeah,
where you wouldn't necessarily have that experience in college. And it matures you very quickly.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're dealing with money or dealing with a drunk ass 18-year-old that got arrested, and then blamed everybody else.
That's right.
Sounds like a drunk ass 18-year-old.
That's right. But, who didn't know, right? Just panicked. So she was great. She was wonderful. That's my point. Yeah. But
I'm sure she grew up to be a nice young lady.
I am sure she did.
Okay. All right. So we're running a sorority.
That's right.
And you decide to what? Did you do it in 4 years or did you do it like ambitiously fair, like 3.5?
I did it in 4 years.
Okay. All right. I extended mine a little bit.
Good for you.
Yeah.
No, I had a plan.
Okay.
But I realized when I was in school that I probably didn't want to do necessarily print journalism either for kind of the same, like, I don't want
What was it? Pay?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
At that time. Well, it was pay. And really that was when things were starting where the newspaper was already, it wasn't dying, but you were already seeing this transition to online news. And I wasn't passionate about it, really. And frankly, the passionate stories tended to be like hard and sad. I just kind of was, I don't know, it just didn't really excite me.
Expand on that. Like, what do you mean? You gravitated to the sad and
I think a lot
stories,
of times the at least back then the reporters who were covering the good story, right, meaning who were getting the good leads, right, and the good, a lot of times it was investigative, and it was sometimes I actually had one where I looked at, this was when I was probably a junior, at unreported sexual assault on college campuses, but really in our area,
like a general or a specific.
Kind of, just generally how it goes
unreported.
Happening.
Okay, got it.
And I felt like I was having to interview sometimes people and try and maybe not find the best. Like, I mean, this, George, I tend to be an eternal, maybe not an optimist. Kelly, my husband would say, that is not true, you're wet blanket. But I tend to be, I do believe.
You're incredibly optimistic and positive.
But
I'm going to have a talking with him.
Thank you.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I like finding the good in people, right? I mean, and so I didn't love sort of that. I felt like a lot of times in that situation, I was looking for someone to say the wrong thing, right? So then I could be like, I got it. Got my lead in my story.
Is that really a bad thing?
What?
That you're not looking for it, or you struggle with that?
Yeah,
I mean, so many people, that's what I hate about today's media.
Yeah.
It's all gotcha.
Correct. And I could already see that sort of forming because when you got, I mean, we could really get off on a tangent here, but when
let's rabbit hole it, go.
Well, because, right, I mean, once they have that clickbait.
Yeah.
And then they use it to polarize, and all of a sudden this person is terrible and their ideas are terrible. And I didn't see the world that way then, and I don't see it now. I think people can have different opinions, and some which might be crazy, but if you take that one little sentence, it just makes that person seem right. Like, I don't believe people are, I mean, I know there's some evil people in the world, but as a general rule, I mean, most people are not. They might say something out of context. And so I didn't have a good feeling when I was doing it. So I decided to be a lawyer.
Yeah. Well.
Which most people is awesome. But.
Interesting transition and decision. But to your point, I could not agree more. Mm-hmm. It's more, it's today, I think we're so divided, and I did the thing on Charlie Kirk that I was just very passionate about, just trying to make, and I'm right, left, whatever, but polarizing on each side. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, all right, I'll lean this way. That's fine. I'll lean it, but they don't realize a lot of it is just baiting for clicks.
Absolutely.
And you saw that, I won't say number of years, but X number of years ago when it was still, you didn't have AI and people were actually writing their own articles. And,
right.
And maybe you're trying to convince somebody of your line of thinking, but it was probably still some money driven, but definitely not like it is today.
Yeah. I mean, it bleeds, it leads, right?
Yeah.
But no, today, I mean, I can't even watch the news. It just makes me sad. And I think
polarizing. It's too polarizing.
Well, and brainwashing. I just think.
But people don't think for themselves anymore.
I know.
And that's, I was listening to another podcast about the AI, which there's parts of it is very intriguing to me, but it's becoming so used in certain circles, and education's one of them, that people aren't writing or thinking for themselves. And it's just going to make us dumber.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know how to put it. I mean, admittedly, I've used it for certain things, but I've used it more on the research side. If it can make business more efficient, hell yeah, let's go.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to eliminate someone's job over it. I want to make it more efficient.
That's right.
So you could do more.
So they can be, right, they can use their brain in a way that is better rather than doing menial tasks as opposed to not having to use their brain.
Well, I could go like, your articles you wrote in college. I mean, I could just boom, and it spits it out like that. And it's probably a lot better than I would do if I shined it up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So your journalism degree, did you get a journalism degree?
I did. Minor in Spanish.
Okay. 4.5 years that I spent at Ole Miss, I still lack 6 hours of Spanish for my actual degree. So there's that. Anyway, I have like 180 hours.
So yeah.
I was going to knock that out before I went to law school, but then I decided to move to the beach. But hey, it led me to meeting you. So here we are.
Yeah.
All right. What made you decide to go to law school?
So I was very good at school.
Okay.
So I decided might as well keep that. I mean,
why leave?
It's a pretty good gig here. I'm pretty good at this. Why?
Yeah.
No reason to jump out in the real world quite yet. I'd also interviewed for a piece when I was a senior. One of my friend's fathers, who was corporate, he was an in-house counsel for, I can't remember now if it was Applebee's, TGI Fridays, but for one of these national chains, and really was very intrigued by what he did. And I think my dad's, again, we were so loyal to UPS. It had been so good to our family. My dad, that corporation, I was sort of intrigued of, this might be an option of law school and doing, again, not being a litigator necessarily, but there's other options here. I could be kind of go the business and corporate route, which I was very interested in, and then pursue law.
So did you interview him? What you said? Okay. For an article. Okay. Cool.
And so I think that was the first time I really.
Did he help the downfall of TGI Fridays?
Well, I don't, it might have been, I just remember it was a national chain, and I thought it was really, at the time, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Okay.
So that, really helped me decide. And I knew, again, I thought, I'm pretty good at school. I should probably keep, there's got to be another degree I can get.
Yeah. I like it here. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you start law school.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to law school at SMU?
I didn't. I went to law school at Georgia.
Ah, okay.
Because,
why is that?
Because I was in love, George, with Kelly, my husband.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cute?
Wait, you went to Georgia. Y'all met where?
I was the cart girl at Shark's Tooth.
Okay.
And he was on the grounds crew there when I was in between my freshman and sophomore summer.
So the grounds crew guy picked up the cart girl.
That's right.
It's the start of a romantic movie, like Caddyshack.
My mom actually called him Tumbleweed for I think probably the first 6 months we dated, because she thought it would, she's like, oh, there's no way that's going to stick.
I just found a new name for your husband, by the way. That's what he's going to be called.
Like, oh, Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed. Okay. All right. So, but where was he?
So
he was living here in Panama City?
He was living here, but he actually was starting turf school that next fall after we met. So he went and got his turf degree for 3 years in Lake City.
Okay.
And then we dated long distance while I was in college. And then he got a job with the PGA Tour in Atlanta. And so I thought...
So y'all were dating when you were at SMU?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably knew that. But anyway.
Yeah. So we did the long distance thing
really?
in college. Mm-hmm.
And he was in Lake City and you were in Dallas.
City.
Wow.
I was in Dallas.
Made it work. True love.
My parents were great. They helped us a lot. And we're great about,
were they here yet?
They were not full-time yet here though. Because my brother was still in high school.
Okay.
But once, my dad retired at 53. Trying to think what year that was.
Does Dad still work at Publix?
He doesn't. He is. I know. Well, he left. He actually left that job. Went to work for the sheriff's department for a while, doing their kind of beach patrol, if you will, or beach education. I'm not exactly sure. Kind of with the whole customary use when they kind of got some additional forces. He did that. Gosh, he just stopped right at the end of the summer. I think it was becoming a full-time job in the heat.
Too much.
Now he would say he had to help me. That's what he said, that I was too demanding. My parents helped me a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's good. So it's good to have family.
They're so helpful. So, and I think too, he was missing, kind of missing some things, I think, with our kids with my brother's kids that he wanted to be at. And so, he's now helping one of the vacation rental companies, do inspections and that sort of thing.
Jack of all trades.
I think he was so incredibly successful, retired at 53, had worked his whole life, did nothing for a few years. And then I think was like, sitting on the beach is fun, but
yeah,
I need something else. So
I have a lot of friends that have the perception of all of us down here that, oh God, you live at the beach. I'm like, yeah, but we actually go to work.
Right. Exactly. So he's not doing Publix, but he has had, down here several,
cool jobs.
A lot of jobs. Yeah. That I think, he's enjoyed and the people have learned. I'm confident a ton from him. So yeah.
I love it. All right. So you picked Georgia. Mm-hmm. Is that because you got in there or?
Well, so what
you didn't
Kelly
want to go to FSU law school?
Well, I wanted to. At that point, I was pretty sure Kelly and I were going to get married. So I was really deciding between Emory and Georgia.
Oh, okay.
And I went to visit both. Emory was going to was going to give me a scholarship. So in Georgia, so the money wasn't an issue, but I just did not. I went into Emory, and I remember they were talking about all this, kids cutting pages out of books and I don't know. I just got this feeling of I don't think
it's in Atlanta, right?
It's in Atlanta,
inner city, but it's in the city, right?
In the city, yeah. But I just kind of, I don't know. It didn't feel warm and fuzzy, and so I decided, and I went to Georgia, and I really liked it, and so and it was
great campus.
Yeah, we loved it. Kelly and I really enjoyed Athens.
Georgia's, I say it's like Ole Miss, but it has that feel. There's a lot of green space. You can walk around most of the places where definitely different than, and you came from SMU, which is in the city too.
It is, although it's in a bubble. I mean, it's in Highland Park, so kind of.
Okay.
I mean, it's fairly. Kelly
surrounded by all the rich folk.
Yeah. Kelly used to joke that they were going to tow his car. He drove this old Civic that we would have to, the window, it wouldn't go up by itself. So the person on the inside and the person on the outside would have to shimmy their hands out.
Okay.
So he used to always joke that when he would drive out there to help me unpack, take everything back at the end of the summer, that he was going to get towed because the Highland Park police were like, what is this 1990s?
He's not supposed to be here.
Correct. Something looks out of place here. But,
awesome.
Yes. But yeah, but Georgia, we loved it. I mean, Athens, it's a beautiful town. It was fun. They had great places to eat. We made a lot of great friends. We loved our church. I mean, it was a fun.
So he lived there with you at some point?
He actually had to live, he lived with my parents my first year. Okay. Until we got married after my first year of law school. So he lived with.
Really liked you.
Well, actually, I don't think he wanted to leave. So my mom, because my parents he had his own, they lived on Lake Lanier, and they had kind of it wasn't a carriage house. It was attached, but it was like a mother-in-law suite, I guess. Okay. My mom made him dinner every night. She would, do his laundry. So
Tumbleweed got upgraded.
Tumbleweed got upgraded. I'll be honest. I think maybe marriage, moving in with me, was a downgrade. So no, they were wonderful.
She didn't cook for me. She didn't take care of me.
She does nothing. I'm just kidding. She's in law school.
She's studying all the time.
That's right.
Oh God.
But we lived there for 2 years.
Okay. So how was law school?
It was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you excelled. You were on the bar review and all that stuff, and
I was.
Put your writing skills to the test.
I finished number 2 in my law school class.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, my best friend finished number 1. You'll love my dad. His comment was, "Well, nobody remembers who comes in second."
Yep.
I'm like, well, that's true.
Thanks, Dad.
But look,
if you ain't first, you're last.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure followed by a Bear Bryant quote. But so yes, I actually was very fortunate. I did very well in law school.
So you clearly are still good at school.
I told you that's my state. I was like, I can still do this.
Graduated second in your class.
Graduated second in my class.
Smarty pants. All right. So what'd you decide to do? Did you go get a master's or anything?
No. I do wish in hindsight I took a bunch of classes at the business school. Well, and I mean, a huge blessing in disguise because I graduated from law school in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So had I gone that extra
Great timing.
Correct.
But you can always get a job with a law degree. I feel like even in that environment.
And even if you're not a lawyer. Well, and so law school, it's a weird, after your first year, I mean, a lot of times your job depends on how well you do your first year, not how well you do your second and third year. So
really, I've never heard anybody say that. Why is that?
So if you want because the big firms, will actually come to campus and recruit you.
They're recruiting after year 1.
They're recruiting after year 1 for summer jobs year 2. And so really, and at Georgia, we didn't even get grades. I think we took a test, but it wasn't a final grade. You took really 2 tests all year. So you took one in December and you took one in May. But your grade for the year, I think the test in May was like, 70% of your grade.
Okay.
So you really had no idea how you did your first year until you opened up your report card in May to see how you did on those tests. So I remember being shocked that I did well because I had no idea if I was going to do well or not. You hadn't really had any indications.
Whatever, you're brilliant.
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, it's about test taking,
you
but
definitely need GPS, but you are very smart.
To go anywhere. I mean, it's really bad. But everyone's I'm book smart. I will say sometimes the common sense can.
That's what makes you wonderful.
Well,
it's all good.
But yeah, so after that, I think we'd actually always thought we'd come back to Florida pretty quick after law school. I went to Atlanta because I got some great offers. I went to work for Austin and Bird. So I actually worked for them my second year of law school that summer.
Is that an internship or is it paid?
It's paid.
Okay.
Which is
so would you
amazing.
Clark? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's really, those summer at those big firms, they're wining and dining you. So you do very little work and you do a lot of.
Really?
They take you. Oh, it's amazing. It's exhausting, but it's amazing. They take you to lunch. They take you to dinner. You go to every game. I mean, they treat you.
So you did well your first year. Now you're being courted by this firm. That's how it works. Okay. All right.
Oh, I mean, actually, the fall of my 2L year, so my second year, I mean, I would go interview at all these firms. They would put me up at the Four Seasons, the Ritz. I mean, I knew the valet at the Four Seasons by name, and Kelly and I's take home, I think, combined salary was $19,000.
Awesome.
But because we were there so much. So yes, they would really.
What did they think about Kelly's car when you pulled up?
I know. Well, he was at work. So it's just me.
At the Ritz.
Which I still had a car from my parents, so I was fine.
Yeah. So did you do work? Like what kind of clerking were you doing? Other than martinis at lunch?
Well, in between, I know, which there wasn't much time for that. You actually would really kind of move through departments. So at the big law firms, they have, a ton of niche groups and kind of practice groups. So you really would rank kind of, hey, here's some areas of the law I'm interested in, and you would rotate through, and those groups would assign you projects. So you would do some project, research, that sort of thing. But really the intent was, at that point, I think for the big firms, they know, okay, if you've done well in law school, they think you're able to probably do the work. So really it's almost more of a personality fit and, kind of figuring out which group do you think you're going to fit in well with the lawyers in that practice group. Mm-hmm. And of course, do you like the work? But I knew pretty early on I wanted to do transactional work and not do litigation. So even that summer I was. So what was your top, like, what did you, corporate So I ended up,
stuff?
Yes, I think I don't remember, I ended up, which is the group I wanted, was in what was called CATS, but corporate acquisition transactions and securities. Well, it was CATS for short.
Okay.
which was pretty much mergers and acquisitions work and then securities work. So I thought, that was what I wanted to do, and ended up there and loved it. So that's where I started my law career.
Before you even graduated law school, that was good. Okay, cool.
That's right. Knew I was going to go straight into that. And so it was, thankfully, though, I had a job. So say I got an offer before my third year of law school, I already had a job. So thankfully, because that was 2007. I'm not sure. So I had a job in 2008. Things were a little slow when I started. And then
were you in the CATS group?
I was.
Okay.
Although I think, so I want to say they took 120 associates. That might know, but something around there. And probably the second quarter, they cut, I think, a third, right? Because at that point, the markets had crashed. So really, I did a bunch of bankruptcy work that first year. And I think
you didn't get cut.
I did not. But the bankruptcy.
You were a rookie. That's impressive.
Well, of the rookies, they cut like a third of us. But I didn't. And I was like, I will do there was not much M&A activity, but I was like, what do you need? I will do whatever you need. So I ended up working for the bankruptcy team, because that was when the Chrysler GM, and we represented a bunch of the unsecured creditors.
Okay.
And so I went and helped that group. So that really gave me hours and kept me, I think, off the chopping block in 2008. And then things started to kind of come back slow, but came back. So yeah.
So how did you, at some point you made your move to the Panhandle of Florida? Mm-hmm. What did that come about?
So we had, our son, I had Briggs, it's just my oldest, in 2010. And so pretty quickly after having him, the big firm was amazing in terms of the benefits they provided you. We had on-site daycare from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They would have a babysitter that could pick your child up from daycare and take them home. If you were sick, they had a babysitter that would come take care of your child.
Fancy law school.
It was very fancy.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized that was amazing, and so kind they did that, but that I really wanted to be the one picking up my child, and I'm like, oh wait, I had this kid for a reason, because I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to be a mom too. But I loved what I did. I loved the work I did at the firm. They were, again, it was great. But just sort of realized I didn't think long term that was going to be what I wanted to do. And Kelly was still traveling a lot. So he did a lot of tournament prep for the PGA Tour, which means he would go in to, a tournament site 2 weeks before, help get the course ready, stay through the tournament. So he was traveling a lot. I was kind of doing this, and we just decided, I think we want to be closer to home. But obviously that timing wasn't great either, because that little thing called the oil spill.
Yeah.
So they didn't need corporate lawyers down here in the Panhandle.
Getting my ass kicked at that point in time.
Yeah. It wasn't a great time.
Come on, Farrar, it's all good.
Great time
Jump
to be
in.
looking for work. I actually joke with a lawyer here who I love that I sent him my resume and he didn't even respond. And so I remind him of that frequently, because I'm like, remember, it's Dana Matthews. I always tell Dana, I'm like, remember Dana, you didn't know.
Oh, Dana.
He sent me this very curt email. So I love to remind him of that.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
but he regrets that.
Well, I don't know if he does, but I like to pretend. I like to think he does.
I think he does.
So we kind of started to look, and again, kind of figured out, okay, I really thought I would met Kirby, met Scott Campbell, Chris Hart. That's really where I wanted to be, and they just really didn't have anything. And so we kind of kept looking. Kelly ended up taking a job in South Mississippi with the Beau Rivage at their golf course at Fallen Oak. And so we moved there and actually kept working remotely, which wasn't really a thing back then. So I'm so grateful for Austin and Bird while we were there. So I just worked part-time hourly for them. And then we'd been there probably about 9 months, and Kelly's dad got sick, and they were in Panama City. He got sick with cancer. And
did you like Biloxi?
We lived in Ocean Springs.
Okay.
I actually loved Ocean Springs.
Okay. I haven't spent time in Ocean Springs.
It was such a change. We lived, in Atlanta, when I was at Austin Bird, we lived in Brookhaven. So we lived in the city in Atlanta, which was incredibly convenient.
Brookhaven's a cool little pocket.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
But I loved all of a sudden being in this small town that had one road, 2 grocery stores,
Small.
Friday night lights. I I loved that. But working for the casino Kelly did not necessarily love that culture. It was great because they will throw the golf course as an amenity. So there's as much money as you want. A big budget, but just the kind of the dynamics. He just wasn't a huge fan of his leadership there. And so once his dad got sick, I think he was pretty like, let's go home.
Okay.
And so that we moved. Well, in January of 2012, I started with Clark Partington. So we lived in Pensacola for 3 months so that I could get to know the guys over there. And
where was Kelly at this time, or was he?
He
unemployed?
He was unemployed. Okay. Yep, he had him and Briggs. We lived in this apartment in downtown Pensacola. I think we were on the news 5 times in the 3 months we lived there because they were just doing the kind of, I don't know what the word is, but, revitalization of downtown. And we lived there and would walk around. And I think we're like this big novelty because we were a young family living downtown. At the time, we didn't know we were a novelty.
Yeah, I could see that. They've done a good job. They just knocked our office. Yeah. Our office is South Halifax. They just knocked down the Spokio or the New World building right next to our building. I pulled up yesterday and it's gone. They tore the whole thing down. I'm sure, condos or something. So that whole road, they've done a good job of the gentrification or whatever you want to call it of that area.
Absolutely. And
I didn't know you were a celebrity.
Well, the best part is that we used to ride our bikes all the time down there, and Kelly would have Briggs on the front. And so I got interviewed. This is so me too, right? With my bike helmet on. I was like, why
Abby,
did you take
we're going to find that clip. Okay?
I was like, why didn't you take the bike helmet off? I'm like, I don't know. Because,
it's caught in the moment.
It was all like, up under my chin, like safety first. Under my chin.
You're such a nerd.
Such a nerd. I mean, it was so par for the course.
We've got to find that clip.
Yeah. I mean, being like, I love downtown.
We're going to add it right in the podcast right here.
But everyone would laugh just at work because they'd be like, we saw y'all on the news again. I'm like, I know. It'd just be us riding. But Kelly, him and Briggs, they knew everyone that was like, at this time had a fair kind of homeless population that would hang out at the pier and fish. And
it's still there.
Kelly knew everyone by name, which won't shock you either if you know about it. So he'd be like, hey, Ralph, Joe, did you catch anything today? I mean, so him and Briggs just,
They just went fishing with the homeless people because they didn't have anything to do? Okay,
that's right.
Cool. Now they, we've stayed down there a couple of times, and the homeless population still, they're not horrible. They've done a decent job, but they I guess I don't know if steal's the right word. They commandeer the electric pay to go scooters and they ride them up and down Halifax. It's kind of good people watching because they're not good drivers.
Kelly and I went to the Larry Fleet concert last year. We stayed at the Oyster Bay House.
Okay.
And then, oh my, I mean, it was great. I told him, we spent one night, went to a wonderful dinner down there, walked to the concert, walked back.
It's a cool little vibe.
Great. Yeah, it really is.
Some good restaurants that have come in, like the quality. So I think they've done a good job.
I agree.
And they've got the baseball stadium. So So where did you live? Like off of Halifax?
Alkanese.
Okay. Yeah,
it was right by the gym.
Yeah,
it was sort of the first apartments.
The thick of it.
Oh, I mean, we didn't. Okay. Yes, so we were
celebrities. Okay, I didn't.
That's right.
So when did you make the move to the beautiful Destin, Santa Rosa Beach area?
April of 2012.
Okay, and you worked in the Clark Partington office over here?
I did, in the Destin office, and it was great. I learned. It's funny. I'd been at this very big, prestigious law firm where I'd learned a ton in 4 years. But I will tell you, I learned more from Hank Stackhouse, Bob Hart, and Chris Hart in about 2 months in terms of that kind of what we talked about at the beginning of just how do you really listen to what a client needs and what, just because this is what the law says, how do you take that and really apply it practically to their business? I mean, I was in awe of them the first few months, just how, and they were such good mentors to me. It was exciting, a fun time.
Chris had a great way of, like we talked about, relating to his clients and being able to communicate with his clients and not over attorney things.
Yeah.
And speak to you in a language. If you're not an attorney, whether it's litigation or real estate, we worked pretty close with them for years, and always did a great job. I think very highly of him. So I'm sure he was an amazing mentor.
Oh, he was. I mean, sometimes I would be it's shocking too, I'm sure, George, because me, over analyzing it, or I just couldn't get a document. I know, well, this isn't technically the way I'd want it. And sometimes he'd be like, it's good enough. Not, you're at some point, and look, I mean, I do a ton of deal work still, and I will like, a lawyer should never drive the deal, right? Or in my opinion, like, it's the client's deal. Our job is to advise them of the risks, to help them make sure they understand the document, understand what they're agreeing to, and that their expectations, but not to, again, stall the process or just get so nitpicky. And Chris just had a great of knowing when it was time to say, hey, look, we've done the best we can on this document. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And he was willing to kind of take those risks. And I think that, is different in our market and in smaller firms. Sometimes I do still a lot of work where big firms are on the other side. And I think they're so good at all the tiny little details and they're processing these great informations. But sometimes it's hard when you're that deep down in it. It's hard to step back and see the bigger picture.
The bigger picture of, all right, and in our world, let's say real estate.
Yep.
We all came to the table to get something closed.
That's right.
Give me a way how to do it, not 10 ways how we can't.
Mm-hmm.
And in my humble experience, I think those big firms, you push, and this is outside looking in for billing hours and all this stuff. They're just racking up fees. And, for me, as unfortunately or unfortunately, hiring of many attorneys, help me get to the finish line. Not necessarily economically, but the right way. And I'll keep coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to be in trouble.
Not even that. Well, look, I mean, it's funny when this has always been my theory, but it's been easier since kind of going out just with Kirby, because with my, current law partner, because we're smaller, so we can see, and we're flexible.
Yeah.
But that's always been, I'm like, I don't take advance fee deposits very often. I want you to feel, I don't want you to hate when you have to pick up the phone and call me and ask me a question.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be such that I'm such a value add to you that you're like, hey, I want to see what Farrar's opinion is on this. Like, I think you're the same way. I mean, that's what.
If you charge me for 15 minutes for one email that's 1 second, one sentence, I'm going to be pissed.
Right.
So I wasn't looking at you when I said that.
No,
I was talking to the world.
So, well, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, like,
and I get you. That's how you earn a living. But sometimes there's a balance there.
Well, I think it's the same thing, right? I know you do this for your, the realtors that you all work frequently with, right? Like, you want to be a value add to their business, right? I mean, ultimately, yes, we're all going to get paid, but you don't want somebody like, oh, I had to give Setco a closing fee. No, you want to be like, they earned that closing fee because they helped this transaction run smoothly. I feel like I trust the work they did. And so, I think when you can approach it like that, it makes it easier too. But I think
it creates a relationship instead of this firm over here in their tower.
That's right.
And
who just makes
a lot of those big ones have become that. And I guess they definitely have a fit for some companies, but I much prefer the brilliant two partner firm that respects me and it's mutual and they want a relationship, a partnership.
Well, and I think the big firms that they have that, I mean, the partners work as hard as the associates. Like, that was one thing else I noticed in sort of big law, if you will, is there was no end game, right? Like, the associates worked hard, really, really hard. We worked a ton of hours, but ultimately the partners worked just as hard. And so I was like, wait, it's not like you put in the work for 5 years and then or 10 years and you make it.
Your exit's when you retire.
Correct. This is not getting better.
Or just die at your desk.
But I think, here we have such, I think, because you have those personal relationships, you have more loyalty, right? And
sure. Absolutely.
Whereas there, if a client asked you to do a deal on a Friday night at 10 p.m., they needed it done by Monday morning. If you didn't do it, they were going to call the guy down the street at the other big firm and see if they could do it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas here, that's one thing. And I'm sure that comes over time, but I think our area, like, the people here are just like, they trust you. And so if you say, hey, look, this might take me 2 days, but it's one of your folks who you've done work, they'll give you that grace and give you that flexibility, which makes it a much not easier place, but it's more of you can take a deep breath and, we still work. I know you do too. We work too much because we want to help people, and I want people to get their stuff done.
I enjoy it.
I do too.
If I enjoy it, and you're the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So you were doing transactional business. You weren't doing real estate. Were you doing real estate, Clark Partington?
So, no, it was some commercial real estate, which, really is still pretty much what I do. Meaning, the residential I'm not nearly as familiar with as I am on commercial. And I still refer to Kirby a lot and rely on him for, I would say, for the real dirt stuff.
Yeah.
But I was doing I was working a lot in the Grayton office. And so kind of was familiar with it because they were doing so much of that work in Grayton. But really, I was still doing almost exclusively business and corporate, but that bleeds over a lot in terms of kind of the commercial side, which is how that sort of happened. I didn't do any real estate when I was at Alston and Bird.
Yeah. So. I'm working on different commercial deals, and that's kind of what, the ones I get involved in today, unless there's a problem. It's amazing to me. You tag it with commercial and it's just, okay, it's more complicated, and it's really not.
No.
Maybe you have some rent you need to deal with, or, maybe you have a different zone or something unique, but and we see some of these I know y'all do too. And that was to our discussion we just had. I see these fees that some of these firms charge to represent buyer, seller, and then we're in the middle, and it's like insane to me. Like, we could have all come together and done this for about, I don't know, $500,000 less.
Sure.
Depending on the price tag. And I see it and it's like, oh my goodness. But then, it's a $10 million commercial deal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Close an $18 million house, and it took me 5 minutes. I'm not discounting the price or that there's not effort that goes into it, and I'm being dramatic, but there's a lot of, when you tag it with commercial, it's just like, oh, this is going to be complicated. And a lot of times it's really not. Not to say there are some, but
no, I mean,
that frustrates me. But we get away is not the right word. We have the fortunate we are fortunate to have businesses in a place where you have the highest dollar volume,
correct,
residential in now North Florida.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think our perspective is skewed, right?
Sure.
In the sense that is the case. And I would say on most of the commercial deals, and sort of how I even kind of learned, again, the real estate is when people were buying a piece of property as part of a business. Right. So when they're buying an operating business, there's a commercial real estate component. So I would say that too is really primarily kind of how I would say from the real estate standpoint, and I do a fair amount of like finance, right? When someone, especially for my client, if they're developing something, they're going to get financing. So like that kind of real estate component. But in terms of a pure, I still do some pure commercial, but a lot of times there's an operating business. And I do think sometimes even here, people forget about that component, right? So they're like, oh, it's a self-storage facility. It's a piece of real estate. Well, yes, but it's probably got 100 leases on it. Does it have, there's some other components that especially when you're purchasing it, when you're selling it, the less reps and warranties, stick to the property piece. Just let them take the rest. But on the buy side, especially, I think sometimes people even maybe oversimplify it because we're used to doing such big
and I was talking about
transactions.
Just real estate in my reference. But then when there's a business involved, you need to have right representation for both parties.
Absolutely.
So you at what point decided you wanted to get out of the big firm or big-ish firm and go out on your own? What made you do that?
I don't think it was necessarily any particular thing. It was sort of a time of transition for Clark Partington because a lot of Chris and Bob Hart were retiring. Hank Stackhouse was retiring. So there was already kind of some transitions in leadership there.
Mm-hmm.
I had, at this point, 2 children, was in the process of adopting a 3rd child. So I really had kind of gotten to a place too where I really wanted a little more flexibility and really wanted, I think for Kirby and I too, just like there were things here we were really passionate about. I know you felt the same way with Setco because y'all are so involved in the community. Like there were things we wanted to support and that we wanted to do from a business standpoint that when we were with a broader group just didn't make sense. And rightfully so, right? For that firm because they had, if everyone got to do that, it would make no more
50
money.
Attorneys all
correct. And everyone has these special projects. It doesn't work.
I get that.
And so, it just seemed like I don't know, we just kind of get the right time to sort of, I think let's give this a shot. And I really wanted some more flexibility that at the time, the firm just wasn't set up, again, probably because they had so many to be able to give me that.
That's fair. It's good for you.
So, yes. And so it was it was scary and it was a hard transition.
Entrepreneurship, Farrar. It's fun. Of course, it's scary.
I know.
You are probably a little less risk tolerant than I am. I'm going to throw it out there.
Just a little. Well, it's funny because
what is good? Is Kirby more or less than you?
He's more of a visionary, so I think he can see the potential in things, and so I think he is willing to take risk in the sense that he's better at like he's he can see the vision. He can like see what something's going to be, and so I think and can put excitement behind it. I mean, he's really good at motivation and sort of like so I would not have done it without him. That's for sure. And Christy. I mean, I really think
did he pull you out, or did the opportunity for flexibility?
I mean, it's funny that I can't remember. I kind of can't remember how it came up, but I really feel like it was just something that just has kind of started weighing. And again, we were together a lot in the Grayton office, so he was running the Grayton office really by himself at that point. So I think for him, he was kind of like already felt a little bit like he was out there doing sort of in residential at the time was not something that Clark Partington was, a lot of people were doing, right, at the firm. So I think that was kind of where he started. And then, but I don't really remember how it had started, but really, it was mutual. And I think we both just felt like, you know what, let's, I think we could do this. And
good for y'all.
And so it was great. I mean, I do remember my paralegal who has worked with me. I don't know how long now, I should probably know this, but I mean, since before my almost 13 years, right?
Okay.
That I told her the morning before we were going to Pensacola that, hey, look, we've, decided to leave. You should stay here. You're brilliant. You're amazing. They'll find, like, they have benefits. They have stability. Like, you should stay. Yes, we don't have much, of anything, in fact. And so I remember we talked to the our partners in Pensacola, and I called her on the way back and said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I've told them. So if you hear something, that we've announced it to them. And she's like, oh yeah, they already came in here to try to get me to stay. And I was like, oh good. I'm like, so you said you're staying, right? She's like, oh no, I told them I'm leaving. I was like, oh, that seems like it could be a really bad decision. Did I tell you we don't know how we're gonna have any money? But it's funny. Also,
Jerry Maguire moment.
Yeah. Well, Frank Burge. I'll never forget. We didn't know how we were going to have any money it's not like we had saved up for this,
Awesome. I love these stories.
We were sitting around a conference table and we'd gone to another bank and they were going to do SBA, but it was going to take months and that seemed really overwhelming. And so I was like, let's go meet with Frank. And so I remember we sat down and it was him and Brett at the time. I can't remember, a couple other people. And he's like, tell me what you're going to do. And so I kind of start and like, well, we're going to start a law firm and then we're going to do a title company. And we're, he's like, I remember he was just like, oh, this is great. You're going to do great. And I was like, well, we'd like to see about a line of credit. And he was like, how much do you want? And I was like looking at Kirby and Christy because we didn't know. I'm like,
how much you got?
Kind of. I mean, so we threw out a number and he said, okay, well, Brett, I'll get you the paperwork. He has again, nothing from us, right? Like he and I had worked together before. He's like, well, he'll get the paperwork to you for approval. I was like, wait, we're approved? And he's like, oh, we were approved before we sat down in here. And I mean, talk about just someone who believed in you and gave you a catalyst. We walked out there being like, you know what, it's going to be okay. We're going to be able to do this. So anyhow, he was a huge
I can think of at least 5 stories like that about Frank, where just walk in I wish you could do it like that.
Yeah.
That's why his success is, he's sold 3 banks now or however many, but there's multiple people that I know that he's done just that.
Yeah. I mean, we had to get financials to him eventually, right?
Yeah, I get it, but
just that immediate, talk about a sense of just support. A huge weight and support and feeling like, you know what, this is going to be, and it's funny, the hardest conversation I thought I was going to, well, it was with Bob and Chris Hart, because I feel like had really taken, a chance on me being this lawyer from Atlanta. When I came down here, people were like, what? This person just want to come to the beach for 3 months. Why? She's really this doesn't add up because, and people in my firm in Atlanta thought I was crazy from, moving to the beach. You're going to give this, up or whatever. So anyhow, yeah. So just Bob and Chris too were like, hey, you know what? We understand.
Were they still there?
They'd retired.
Okay.
But, I still felt like.
You went and talked to them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I was so nervous about, that they were going to be disappointed, disappointed in me or something. And they were just both just so gracious and kind and
Bob,
supportive.
I could see Chris being supportive.
Yeah, and I think they're like, hey, look, we did this too, at one point. Like you
got to. I've started, I don't know, how many title companies down here?
Yeah.
Because of, training people up, and they want to be entrepreneurs. Some good, some bad, some leave, I shake their hand and go get them.
Well, I know but building a team, like having a team of people that like you, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
You want your team to grow and to be great and to be able to want to do something on their own.
I want them to stay with me if they're good.
Absolutely.
But, some people, some people can do that and some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't have the risk tolerance for it.
Yep.
And or the entrepreneurial spirit. There are people out there that, this is what I need to make. This is what I get every 2 weeks or whatever it is. That's their mentality, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some people that, like, I have a drive and there's a fire in me that if I'm stagnant, I'm going nuts.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be that. So I go start businesses and do silly stuff and lose money doing it, but that's all right. I keep going.
But I know, but you do. Well, yes, but kudos to you, George. I mean, in part because you do surround yourself with good people. You love your people well. You love our community really well. Like,
thank you.
It's a testament to.
I try.
You do.
It's a work every day. We all can be improving.
Of course, but you do really. I mean,
Well, thank you.
You guys have made
so
huge impact.
Y'all started when?
April 1st of 2017.
Okay. Awesome. And now we have Barker Williams Law Firm, Shoreline Title. Everything's going well?
Everything's going well.
You're an amazing competition. I love you guys.
Oh, well, we love y'all too.
Y'all do a great job.
Rising tide.
Not everybody is like that in our area, but y'all are incredible.
Well, thank
you. So tell me, the market's been kind of challenging from your perspective the last couple of years. How have y'all navigated these interesting waters?
Holding our breath now. I'm just kidding.
Snorkel or
that's right.
Scuba tank?
Well, you know what? I think we're fortunate because we do have great people, and I don't think everyone has been. We needed a break. I mean, actually, it's funny. We intentionally in July of now I'm getting, was it 2022? Might be.
June 30th, 2022 is when the market, the interest rate started going up.
Yep. Okay. So it's 2022.
It started a little before that, but that's kind of where the break was.
Because I think in, July of 2021, we kept being like, guys, it's next month's going to be less work, right?
Yeah.
Next month's going to be less. Well, come probably about April of 2022, like everyone was just done. They were fried. They were at the breaking point. They could no longer just continue the volume. And so Kirby, to his credit, made it, and Christy and I with him, but he just said, I think we need to stop taking contracts for a month at least. And we need to take a breath, and we need to figure out, get things cleaned up that have just, post-closing done. Like, we just need to take an intentional break. July 2022 was not probably the best time to take that break in hindsight.
Yeah. Because that's when everything started to shrink.
Or maybe it was, maybe we got the best of it. And so it was, but
we had March of 22 was the highest grossing month we had ever had.
Ours was, I think that was us too. Yeah.
And so I get where you're at, but I don't know if that was the best month, because by October, y'all are probably begging back for contracts.
What
we were all doing it. So it's talking out of school here.
We'd been like, well, look, if you come in with that $18 million goal front, we'll help you, right?
We'll close everything. I had someone that ventured out, a good client over the years, and someone wooed them over to the dark side, and they inundated them. And this was around that time, inundated with contracts. And they called them and said, hey, can we just do everything over $1 million? I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'd like that too.
Because those are easier, right? It's the smaller ones that are always the complicated
I'll spend,
ones.
50 hours on a resale trailer from the 70s and outside of Pace, Florida.
That's right. No, I mean, it's true.
Yeah. And then the big ones are usually pretty smooth unless someone gets sideways. But anyway, so y'all
took an
challenged.
Intentional break to kind of get caught up. We were switching to a new software program, just decided we would do that. And then we had plenty of time to learn a new software program because things were really slow. But, we were fortunate because we try to be pretty fiscally responsible. So we had some, kind of had rainy day, we called it, funds set aside. And so really, by February, it had sort of, things were kind of coming, right? Not back, but at least we're getting volume. And I would say we've stayed pretty steady. I mean, again, thankfully no one's drowning, but we weren't over, it's funny, we really needed more staff so badly, frankly, in that kind of the post-COVID era, and just couldn't find them. Like, we were just begging. You could have come in with, like, have you ever heard, can you say real estate? We probably would have taken you at the time. Like, surely we can train you. Right? We just needed bodies. But we just never could find that fit. And so, so we weren't super overtasked. We were able to kind of navigate it. And I think now, I would say even I of course come for it more on the deal side probably than sort of the traditional, but I just think things are harder now, meaning like deals are still getting done. It just feels,
What's harder? Well, just for people listening. So when you say the deal side, you're talking about more business transactions.
Probably more business transactions, some real estate, but I think it kind of flows into both. I just think money is tighter. So 2 years ago, if all of a sudden, there was a $10,000 issue in a deal, people split it, moved on, walked away, right?
Agreed.
Or honestly, in my world, maybe there was an earnout or, something that was, and maybe it wasn't quite hit or, that sort of thing. People still sometimes, they paid them or they paid it. Whereas now, because I think the market is tighter and I just think people are a little uneasy about the future, they're fighting over the $10,000, right? And so, and they're looking back at the to make sure. And I do a lot in the vacation rental deal space. Really it's kind of funny, I have this weird niche. I mean, really kind of on a national level, but I do a lot of those deals. And so I'm starting to see the buyers who bought in 2021, 2022, really the ones who bought in 2023 based on trailing 12 months, 2022 numbers. Things aren't, that revenue stream has not gone where they expected it to go when they purchased it. And so you're just kind of seeing people come back and nitpick is not the right word, valid claims, whereas before they just might have been willing to sort of,
because the income's not there.
Because the income's not there. And a lot of times, again, in the private equity or what they've promised their investors, like they're answering to people. So it's all fair. It's just, I always said I like to do transactional law, and real estate's the same, like, because it's generally happy law, meaning, right? Like when a buyer is buying something, they're excited. Normally when a seller is selling something, they're excited, and people have to make compromises along the way, of course, to get a deal done. But ultimately, like, they're excited on closing day, right? They might have to pay their lawyer or their closer some money, but like, they're pretty happy about that. It's not like litigation where if you win, your client's still ticked they had to pay you, lawyer. So I'm like, in my world, like, people are generally happy to pay me because hopefully,
they're getting a deal done.
They're getting a deal done, or they're starting a new business. Like, it's something they're excited about, or they feel, good at the end about. And so now I just feel like a lot of times the seller's selling for a little less than they wanted, or they're selling because their debt is high and they need to get out from under it. And the buyer is buying it, but they're more skeptical of the seller or just not willing. So things are just, they're getting done. I just think they're getting done with a little more angst and a little,
sometimes bitterness.
Yeah. Bitterness and so I'm not, but things are still,
no, that's fair. I
agree.
And, we don't delve into the business transaction side, but we see it on real estate. Whether it's forced. I mean, we're not in the short sale world. So people that,
although I did get a call this week, actually.
I mean, we've seen a few, but not
right.
We're not in the situation. If you bought in, June of 2022, or I sold my house in June of 2022, so I hope those folks don't listen to this. So,
you had a beautiful house.
I know. No, about a whole one. So we closed on June 30th, 2022. So, but if March to that era, if you bought in 21, you're probably okay appreciation wise, especially in our little strip here on 38.
Sure.
To your point, the other markets that we're in, just more expansive and more traditional style markets, those prices have pushed down some. And it's purely the fact that, okay, to your point of someone needs to unload. I use the military as a good example because we have even 30A, the military hits some form of fashion because there's so many bases here. But Crestview, Pace, Pensacola, those markets where most people still buy houses like you would a car. The simile I use, and that is, okay, I can qualify for X. This is what I have to put down, so this is what I can buy.
Yep.
Where 3 years ago, you get a loan for 3%, and you can buy a $500,000 house. Well, now you're at 6.5%. You buy a $350,000 house. So, like the Crestview market, that'll push down because they can't sell it, and their people have had the equity to be able to do it. So you're still seeing transactions where this market, it's almost like a neighborhood to neighborhood thing.
Yeah.
I mean, have prices dropped in Rosemary Beach where we're sitting? No, not really. Have you had a few, may call them fire sales? Yeah. The retreat prices are going up, just little different parts of each.
Well, 38 too is so, right? There's such different, I mean, it's one reason I think we all love it, right? It's such a different, to your point, in the neighborhoods, right? It's such a different feel. And so things I think that are attractive in one might be less attractive. And I mean, it's funny how it can be such a small mileage, but it's such a different.
I mean, where we're sitting versus Alice next door or Seaside, totally different. So you mentioned, I want to ask you, you adopted that beautiful little human being I know.
Yes.
What made you decide to do that? Or you and Kelly collectively? And do you mind, would you share a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, so we had 2 children, which in my world was the perfect number of children because, you can still do 1 hotel room. You can have a 2-row car. You can buy 1 packet of chicken for a while and split the 3rd chicken breast. Like, I mean, I was just like, this is practical. You should have.
I love the way your brain works.
You can go to a restaurant, get a table for 4, which is way easier than a table for 5. So in my head,
awesome.
We have a boy and a girl. This is
perfect.
Perfect. Done.
Yeah.
So, Kelly goes and gets the surgery such that we are now at our perfect family of 4. And probably, I don't know, 2 weeks after that surgery, I'm like, hey, I really feel called that we need, like, that we should have a third, like, there's a 3rd child, like, in our family. And he was like, are you going to get a boyfriend? Like, how are you going to make that happen? But I just had Ann James, which was our 2nd child, and I mean, she was still actually in a carrier. I can remember I'd work, and I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So we had a bar in our kitchen.
I've seen you at gymnastics.
Yeah, so I would wear her and the little Bjorn thing, and I would type on so I'd stand up and then work.
Okay,
standing up desk. Because I can remember, and I had a call from someone locally, but who ran an orphanage in Guatemala, and called to see if I would be willing to serve on their board of directors. And I was going to,
Wait, back up. You had a friend, or how the hell do you know somebody on a board in Guatemala?
I know. It was through church, I think.
Okay.
Like, so meaning, I actually think it was through, now that I'm Dr. S's. I don't remember if you remember it.
Yeah.
So,
she delivered.
Yes. So
both my kids.
We went to church, and I think it was one of her friends, but they were local, and they also served on this board and needed a lawyer on their board. And so I ended up talking to this guy and was just really, I think, always have had a heart for vulnerable children, and like was so moved, like, gosh, I really want to do this. But it required me to go to Guatemala 4 times a year. And I was like, I have this baby. I'm already working, not as home as much, as I really want to be. And I just knew that like, I'm like, prayed about it. And I'm like, that's just not right for our family. But it was like that little seed of like, gosh, but we could do more for like I have a heart for vulnerable kids. Like, Kelly is amazing with children. Like, it was sort of just like kind of planted there. Some of our very good friends in our neighborhood were in the process of adopting a child from India. And so again, this kind of, I don't know, it just sort of started in my brain. So that's, Kelly comes home from work, and I'm like, I think we're supposed to have a 3rd kid, and he's like, well, again, are you going to get a boyfriend? I'm like, I think we're supposed to adopt. He was like, oh, wow, okay. It's a lot of news for Tuesday, 3:30, give me a minute.
Yeah. Could have made me a drink first.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, whoa, what, do you need more work? Like, why is your brain, gone down that we need more? So, but really quickly, it was amazing. It was like, we would be in the car there'd be like an adoption commercial on the radio. Like, where are their, like, there's never those commercials. My point is, it was just all of a sudden, like, we really just both,
your mind's looking for it.
Felt, just like stirred that this was something that we really just felt called to do. And so, I kind of looked, and the first step was, you've got to find an adoption agent. Of course, I'd immediately start researching, and I'm like, you've got to find a good adoption agency. And that seemed really overwhelming. But we had a friend from our small group from Athens that I knew was in the process of adopting. And then the girl who was number one in our law school class in Georgia was one of my best friends. She was adopting. Her and her husband were adopting. And so I can't remember if I called them or messaged them, but something. Well, they both wrote back that they were working with the same adoption agency. And again, the girl who was number one, like, looks like one too, but let me just tell you, she was like smartest person I've ever met, right? Incredible researcher. So I'm like, okay, well, and she was very happy with this agency. So I'm like, hey, Kelly, I don't think we have to research this piece. Like, both of these folks who don't know each other, but who we respect them, they're using this adoption agency. I think we should, let's go with them. So we started talking to them, and we kind of quickly felt called to Haiti, just because it is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. But you also know, Kelly and I love the Caribbean and love the islands. And so we just thought, like, we think, and internet, we kind of talked about international versus domestic, but really just felt like for us, like, all international adoptions, at least through most agencies, are special needs adoptions, and really kind of felt like it was life or death for these kids. And that was just where we really felt called. So we wanted to do Haiti. We take our first call. We tell them this, like, oh, you don't qualify for Haiti. You have to have been married 10 years and not have any other children at the time.
Okay.
And so we're like, well,
that make a lot of sense.
Bummer. Okay. So we kind of, that's fine. We start kind of looking and just really aren't feeling anything. Well, they changed the laws in Haiti. Like,
oh, it's a Haitian law.
It's a Haitian law. Correct. Haitian law. Like 2 weeks after. And it's like, hey, guess what? They just changed the rule, like the law, and now you qualify for Haiti. And we were like,
this is an adoption agency.
Right. Adoption agency informing us. So we're like, okay, God, like, and I'm like, I'm a big Jesus fan, but I've always like prayed, like, Lord, either like I can be kind of dense, right? I told you, not super common sense smart. So I'm like, Lord, you either need to like open this door so wide and like hit me in the head with signs, or you need to slam it in my face. Cause like sometimes, and it just felt like that it was just
put up or shut up. Let's go.
Correct. And I was like, man, this is like, it was just, everything was kind of falling into place on that. So we were like, all right, let's go. So we started the adoption process. It took almost 4 years.
Really?
It did. So we did all of our home
Why does it
study
take
work.
so long?
Well, because they're trying to protect the kids. Like, ultimately, I think especially with international adoption, it's not, it's better now with the Hague Convention and some international rules they put into place. But a lot of times you had people going in, like, we're going to,
I guess
air quotes,
sex
save
trafficking
these kids,
and stuff.
100%, like sex trafficking.
I can see
or
that.
Even people.
So they're vetting you. Go ahead.
Yeah, or even people with good intentions, but like taking children who had families, right? Like, heartbreaking. Like, these families would be, these children might be in like a daycare and orphanage situation, but the parents had been told they were just there, staying, and then they would adopt them out for money, right? So I mean, there was some bad, like, horrible things happening, if that makes sense. So
yeah, okay.
So really, this process is to vet us. I mean,
but 4 years
incredibly.
Seems,
yeah. Well, it's also Haiti. They don't have like the technology, right? So not every international adoption process is that long.
Okay.
But in Haiti, I mean, we had all of this work done here, everything, apostillized. We had medical exams, fingerprints, pages and pages of, visits with social workers. And it was literally sitting in a folder on some guy's desk. Like, I remember there was a hurricane coming, and I had all of our friends just praying, like, for our folder. Like, because and I'd be like, do you want me to bring a laptop next time we come to Haiti? And they're like, Farrar, the lack of a laptop is not the problem. I'm like, I can fix this. But so I think it's just, which I couldn't, for the record.
I'll send you a laptop.
Yeah, I'm like, do you just need a computer? Like, I could find, or I could buy 3. And they're like, Farrar, it's not, nope, that's not, it's way bigger than just that. So it's really kind of just the paperwork process.
Got
then they're going to judges. So they have to also ensure that the child really is an orphan, right? So that they don't have family, any living family, for the child.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what takes so long. But we met, we kind of, and because of sort of the trafficking, we actually just learned, they'll send you a file. So Kelly and I we filled out, generally we would be open to a boy or a girl. We wanted them younger than our youngest child. So we, 3 or under, and then you actually fill out which medical special needs that you would be comfortable with, parenting. And so we had filled out that form, and we actually got a call for the first And, you couldn't wait for that call, right? Like that they had a child that they had matched you with. That's kind of what they'd called. And so I remember the first child they called and matched us with, and she was blind. And Kelly and I just really like prayed about it and thought and just really decided we didn't think our area, like that we were the best family for that child. And that was really a tough decision. Actually, it's a huge blessing. She ended up with an amazing family. This child did that, again, we weren't able to accept the match for up in Washington, where they have a ton of services and all that. But, our area doesn't have, I'm like, when I meet 100%. My best friend's a pediatric ophthalmologist in Birmingham. So as soon as we got that, I remember she and I just like went through it, and she was like, Farrah, where is she going to go to school? Like where? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, I just don't. Yeah. So we just kind of decided
I get that
wasn't the right fit. And actually I really had, my head had always envisioned, I thought a boy, like I thought for sure it was going to be a boy. And so we get another referral, and it's for a little girl again. Okay. And she has sickle cell disease. And I was actually in the Pensacola office that afternoon. I can remember for Clark Partington when it came in. I was actually sitting in Bob Hart's office. He wasn't there, which is so funny. I'm not sure, but he wasn't there, and I was in his office because I can remember like looking out. He had these beautiful windows that overlooked downtown. And that email came in with her file. And so, of course, I immediately did not do any work the rest of the day and proceeded to look up sickle cell disease. And because I really didn't know what, I knew it was a blood disorder, but I didn't know what it meant. Well, very quickly, I'm like, okay, there's a clinic and, there's Pensacola has a hematology department. Like we kind of started looking, and I remember calling Kelly and being like, well, it's a little girl again. And Kelly was like, what? That does not like, so what? It's a little girl that needs a home, and so anyhow, so we were like, all right, like let's pursue her. And so we did, and we accepted that match, and then got a call, and we left to go meet her on December 23rd. We left, which is just a huge, like, because really, like, once you got the call, you had to go for 15 days to Haiti to meet the child and to go before the judges, the social workers there, to be sure they felt like it was a good fit. So, that was probably one of the hardest decisions, is that we left our other two kids on the 23rd of December and flew to Haiti for the first time. Because that was as quick as we could, like as soon as they approved us, we wanted to get down there. So because it was taking so long.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure their grandparents spoiled them that year.
Oh, I think it was their favorite Christmas, if you ask them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And their aunt and uncle. I mean, it was like, which is kind of sad. But yeah. Everyone completely spoiled them. Their our friends were a huge village, right? Of people who just like loved them.
Briggs is asking you when you're leaving for Christmas again.
Like, you want to go back to Haiti? Because it was pretty great here without you. So yeah. So anyways, that was great. So yeah, met her, and that being in Haiti for 15 days was quite an experience.
But
she came home in 2018, so this would have been December of 2016.
You didn't get her until 2 years later?
Correct.
I didn't know.
Oh, well, but it was just about a year, actually. So she came home in January.
So you went down, did the process there, whatever that entailed.
Did 15 days, met her, and then left that baby in Haiti in an orphanage, which was
How old was she then?
She had just turned 2.
Okay.
And
probably wasn't the best conditions.
No, but she was in a home that loved her very well, meaning she was in a smaller orphanage. So, which meant she did get more attention than a lot of kids who are in orphanages. It's actually called a creche in Haiti, but there was probably, 40 kids. So, and
it wasn't the conflict that's kind of going on now then. I mean, there was conflict, right?
There was conflict, and it was scary. I mean, there were armed guards, of course, like in front of our hotel, and we were with, we had, essentially, Phil Dare was our security guard translator, the whole 9 yards, if you will. But he would, essentially pick us up at the hotel, drive us to the orphanage behind, concrete and barbed wire, and give them a code. They would let us in, and we would stay in the orphanage with her for, 8 hours a day. And then he would come pick us up, drive us back to the hotel. We would stay in the hotel to the next morning. So, but it certainly wasn't the game. I mean, there were a few times actually we went back. So we went back with Briggs in September of that next year. We took him, and there was one time there, like, so sometimes you have to leave, like, hey, we got to leave the orphanage early because there's a disturbance, right? So like, we got to make sure we can get home before dark. But generally, as long as it was daytime, is okay. But the first time, quick story, when we first arrived in Haiti, we get to the airport, At this time, cell phones didn't really work internationally, or at least ours didn't in Haiti. So we get off the plane. We've got
Wasn't that long ago.
Well, I know they don't have right?
Yeah,
in
no,
Haiti,
right?
right?
It's more the fact you're in Haiti.
It's more the fact you're in Haiti, and so like the international. It's like it's not like we bought. We just were
go gadget. Kelly
Verizon.
You can get a sat phone.
Well, right. In hindsight, listen. So we show up to the airport. There, we get off the plane in Port-au-Prince, and there's just and when you land there's just people everywhere, right? Because a lot of those folks don't have jobs, and so they just hang out at the airport. So I mean, there's just hundreds of people just hanging around, just I would say, just standing there by the airport. So, but we get off, and the people who are here, generally who are on mission trips or who were on a business, they get picked up, right? And so Kelly was like, so. And in my head, the only places I've traveled internationally, I was expecting Phil Dare to be standing it sounds stupid now, but standing at the airport with a sign that says the Barkers.
You have an iPad?
Correct. Well, when we get off the plane, there's just armed militia everywhere, with machine guns. And Kelly was like, so.
I want him to have a machine gun.
Kelly's like, do you know what Phil Dare looks like? And I was like, no. Kelly's like, do you have a phone number we could call? I was like, no. And Kelly's like, so how are we supposed? And I'm like, well, I guess I just thought he would recognize us because, to be honest, there's not a lot of white people getting off this plane, right? Yep. Well, so we walk and we wait. Phil Dare, no one, there's just nobody. And so Kelly ends up picking. I say taxi driver, but there's guys that are like, oh, I can, that I can drive you. I can drive you. So Kelly picks the smallest one. I don't know this at the time, but he's thinking, thankfully, okay, if something goes wrong, I could take that guy, right? Mm-hmm. So he picks the smallest one. We're he knows, thankfully Kelly does, that the hotel's 5 miles from the airport. So he, anyhow, it takes us an hour and a half to go 5 miles. And so at this point, by the time we got to the hotel, Kelly was incredibly stressed. I was still, Polly, well, this is a lot, but I'm not thinking we're going to die. Kelly was we got to the airport. We had no idea how much the guy was going to charge us, for the ride. But I mean, he could have taken all of our money. At that point, we were. Yeah. Sitting ducks, but he didn't, thankfully.
Okay.
And we got to the hotel.
He was a good guy. He got you there? Good
guy. It was just, they don't have traffic lights, so it just took a long time. But yeah, so we got there, and then we get in the hotel, and we're exhausted. And Kelly was really exhausted just because just the stress of it. And I thought it was the 23rd, so all of a sudden I hear pop, 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 pop. I was like, oh, there's fireworks. And this was 2 hours later because it was dark. I'm thinking over the harbor or something, right? Because Haiti is really a beautiful, beautiful country. Kelly's like, that is automatic gunfire. You should step away from the window. Anyhow, so it was still
I have really to ask, how did you find Phil Dare or your
he
tour
ended
guide?
Up coming to the hotel.
Okay.
And he thought we were going to have our kids. So I think it was a miscommunication. He said he thought that we were going to have children with us. So he didn't. He said he saw us at the airport, but we weren't what he was expecting. Kelly still to this day is not sure he actually came to the airport, but who knows? But he was an amazing advocate for us for the next few times we were in Haiti. And so, because we were there for a week with Briggs in September and then went back to get her and were there for a week that following January.
Okay.
So anyhow.
And now she's healthy and doing great.
Yes. I mean, she has monthly blood transfusions in Pensacola. They have an amazing hematology oncology team at Ascension and do incredible work there. So big shout out to them.
But
to their children's
in
hospital.
School, doing well.
So, I mean, she
Good
is.
For y'all.
So she's an amazing, amazing kid.
Sweetest child.
And they're not as sweet as my other one. So it's definitely nature versus nurture. I think she just, she.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we have anything to do with this, my only point, but she's just, she is precious. So we're, incredibly just
it takes special people to be able to do that. So, and I knew some of the stories, but I didn't know it took 4 years. So props to you guys. You're raising amazing kids.
She's incredible. So we're very, very blessed to get to be her family.
I don't know if I would have had the patience and tolerance that y'all did to go through that experience.
No, you would have gone down there. You would have been at the embassy being like, come on, guys.
Let's go. No, I would probably brought laptops too. Who needs a laptop?
Is this all we need to do to fix it? Because I can help you. Yeah.
Best Buy will be here in 10 minutes.
Correct.
So what holds the future for Farrar?
Oh gosh, that's I hope just more of the same. I feel really blessed. I love what I do. I love our clients. I love partners and the people I get to work with. And like, I love my family. So, and our community. So really, I mean, I really, I don't know. I'm thankful. Like, I don't think I don't want it to change, but I'm loving my kids being preteens and teenagers. I think is a ton of fun.
Teenagers. Woo!
I love it. I love watching.
I do too. It's
like and kids I know, like that. It's so fun. I mean, having lived here for, now I've watched all these kids grow up, and I just love like watching them, like whether it be Briggs's friends or just our friends' kids, kind of like come into their own and figure. I can't wait to see in 5 years, where they're going to all end up. But I don't know. I just think it's a really sweet, special time, and I'm optimistic about our area. Like I think, as we said, I mean, things come and go, but I just think we've got really, for us to be so small, we just have an incredible group of business people, like smart people and people who care, I feel like, about our community. Like as Chris Hart would say, that beach isn't going anywhere,
That's right. But you also, to your point, it's a special place. And I grew up in Memphis and then by way of Oxford, Mississippi, got here. But the giving in this community, and thank you for being on the wine auction board and all that you all do. Likewise. I saw, Harper got asked to homecoming last night after the football game. So I'm sure she'll appreciate Dad talking about that on this podcast. But speaking of high school and teenagers.
She's in high school. She's not listening to this podcast.
No, you should have seen. Well, my whole family was there last night with friends. She never even looked at us while she was cheering. Like, in fact, intentionally avoided eye contact. And when I yelled her name, turned around with a big sigh. So there's that part of it.
You're doing a good job. I think
exactly. I'm embarrassing her. That's
right,
my job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dad. So that's
right.
At least that's what I think I'm supposed to. I feel like I'm doing a good job.
You are.
But as our community grows, seeing Shoreline signed at the new football field. Thank you, finally. Walton County, but the support you all do in the community. Thank you. I know we're all involved, but I tease, but it's not a tease. I believe it. There's a lot of our competition in our little world that has very successful companies, some more than others, and some do a good job, some don't. But there's a consistent name that I see, and that's ours and y'all's in the community. And that's important to me. This is where we make money. You've heard me get on my soapbox about the wine auction and giving back to our community and knowing where those dollars go. So, and we had the check presentation last night, which was awesome. Gave away $3 million to this community, which is fabulous. So, Farrah, thank you for all you do. How do people find you?
Like,
come on, you're my competition. Promote.
I was going to say, I mean, on the World Wide Web.
And the nerd comes back out.
That's right. No, I mean, certainly on our websites. I'm taking a little social media break. I kind of go back and forth on that, but we don't do much business.
Do you follow me?
I do follow you.
Do you know I got on the gram like a month ago?
I know. I'm so
I've
proud.
never been on it.
Well, I just got off the gram. Not off. I have to take little breaks.
How do I follow Farrah? We need to take care of this.
Yes, please take care of that. But, I don't do it for business. That's what I was going to say. So,
mine's purely business.
I know. I have, we never could find that niche. So yes, but so I guess the internet is probably, our websites are probably the best way, to find me.
Okay.
But or if you just want to be my social friend, you're welcome to look me up on Instagram. I don't get on Facebook much, but I don't do much business on the old gram.
Well, you do I will say, and good competition. I've said that 10 times, but you're also brilliant when it comes to business law.
Well, thank you.
And I recommend you to anybody in this area when they come along. Thank you for coming on. Truly appreciate all you do.
Likewise.
And what y'all do for the community. So,
likewise.
All right. Thanks. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.